Today I'm joined by Tito, coach of the Salina Valley Raging Bulls from the Entei Division. Currently sitting 5th place with a 3-1 positive record, Tito is no stranger to success, having previously claimed the Raikou Division Championship back in Season 7. His first run in Entei didn't go as planned, finishing 13th and missing playoffs, but this season tells a different story. With renewed focus and a revamped strategy, Tito has been charging through the competition, led by his MVP Greninja, who boasts an impressive 8-1 kill record so far. Welcome to the show, Tito.
Thank you for having me.
Let's get started with your team overview. With the 11th overall pick, you secured Greninja as your first round choice. But the team has evolved significantly since the draft, and what began as probably like how I would describe it, a bulky hybrid snow team, has since transformed into a fast-paced offensive roster featuring a deadly sand Excadrill setup and one of my personal favorites, a creative Terra Hippowdon option, which hasn't been seen in the Burn Tower yet, so I'm excited to see what you can cook up with that. It's a flexible build that allows you to pivot between control and aggression depending on the matchup. Would you like to walk us through your team building approach this season and what made you make these adjustments mid-season?
Yeah, for sure. So initially my team was kind of just trying to make a snow, like Slowking to Titan approach happen. But with the pieces I had after Slowking and in between to Titan before, with like the spy was in draft and some snipes and whatnot, I didn't really see the pivoting working well into Titan. I didn't really have another like dark and ghost type answer other than Greninja at the time, and
Yep.
Scrafty wasn't really cutting it since it doesn't have like a good pivot move. So I really didn't like that approach. And when I was going through transactions this past week, I didn't really like Slowking Mandibuzz either. So, and Deoxys Speed was still on the board, and I really liked that Mon. So I really wanted to swap my focus to more fast-paced offense, which is what I'm more comfortable with, and just
Mm-hmm.
you can have a lot of creativity with these Mons. Maybe not so much with Thunderous and like Excadrill to an extent, but I really like the pivot options now that my team has. The bulk that it has offensively with like Okidogi and even Hippowdon. Just briefly about the match, I'm considering maybe running a Curse Spadef Hippowdon after some
Okay.
things are chipped away in the match against Neversaw. So excited to maybe mock around that and prep around that and have that be a key piece. But I really like the sand option more than I like the snow option I had previously. And this team is more my style. It's not
Yeah.
exactly like the team on Raikou with, but it has a lot more versatility and better Terra captains that aren't like reliant on weather or
Mm-hmm.
just being a defensive wall.
And your championship team had lots of pivots.
Yeah,
So,
that was my favorite part. I love pivoting.
so you're more comfortable with this new team now. So
I
hopefully
would
going into
say
this
so.
matchup confident.
Yeah, pretty confident. A little worrisome that I haven't like used this team yet
Mm-hmm.
in a week before like a match as important as this. Just because
Yep.
Neversaw and I are pretty good friends and both Raikou champs, so we have both a lot of like title and quote unquote honor on the line.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's take a look at the matchup now.
Yeah,
You are up against none other than Neversaw, the reigning Raikou Division champion from last season. Your, I guess, predecessor.
yeah.
Um, Neversaw's roster features a terrifying Spectre plus Urshifu offensive duo, which I have no idea how they managed to land that, but supported by a pretty balanced, like bulky Firewater Grass core and several dangerous Terra wall breakers. Despite being relatively new to the draft scene as well, she's proven to be one of the most consistent and calculated players around. How are you preparing for this matchup against Neversaw? And what's your plan to come out on top in this Raikou champion showdown?
So the way I'm prepping for this is really trying to, I guess, take advantage early on with perhaps hazards. I'm considering maybe a toxic spikes angle right off the bat. I think Neversaw is going to really prep for Battle Bond Greninja, since that's mainly the set I've been bringing. And
Mm-hmm.
it's the set I like the most, just because Protean's great, but since Protean got nerfed, it's not as great. And I don't want
It's
to
not the
really
same.
be stuck. Yeah, it's the same. Um, it's where was I going with that? So with Greninja being like Protean, like spec set, obviously being its best Protean set,
Yep.
other than maybe like a heavy duty boot set, I don't really want to lock myself in on a lot of their hard hitters. I would say honestly, all of their mons hit hard, other than maybe Muck and Serena. But
And
so
Eevee.
like, I really want to. What was that?
And Eevee.
Oh, and Eevee. Sorry, I did put Eevee on the prep job. But yeah, and Eevee. You never know. Choice band, adaptability, uh, something will hurt. So you never know. But
Yeah.
yeah, and Eevee. Yeah. So I really want to take advantage early on with setting up hazards.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen anyone else really click hazards into Neversaw, and since Neversaw and I like have shared our prep ideas, she always has like defog and rapid spin on their mons, on her mons, but it
Yep.
hasn't really ever been clicked. I think defog's been clicked like once in one of their matches, and just to get rocks off. But so I really want to take advantage of those turns where they feel like they have to, you know, click rapid spin and defog, and hopefully pivot something in to apply some pressure. And now that I have more pivot options, I can really pivot around.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing though is finding out what's going to be like my scarfer. Not necessarily that I need a scarfer in this matchup, but I feel like it would be nice for like a backup Spectre check,
Yep.
or like threatening out or Shifu if it's locked into a move, since they've mainly been running like choice band, choice scarf sets with their Shifu from what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really want to get stuck in too many spots against their mons, other than like Hippowdon. Even though Hippowdon and Tentacruel and Mandibuzz can all like sit in front of something, it's not going to want to take more than 2 hits comfortably.
For sure.
There
Yeah.
is like a cheeky little set I'm thinking of running with weak armor Mandibuzz. So
Okay.
the idea is be full fizz def, and then have some speed to outspeed Urshifu, like Scarf Jolly or Shifu.
Yep.
Um, it could work. I am gonna mock it probably tonight, or like just look around and see if it works. But like Hurricane, non-invested, is doing a lot to Urshifu, since Urshifu's SPDEF is pretty low. And then Foul Play is almost one-hit KOing Metagross if they're max attack, which I would assume that's what they would run here, since
Yeah.
Metagross kind of just has enough coverage to cover my whole team, and nothing's really one-shotting it outside of maybe like Excadrill. And even max HP Metagross isn't getting one-hit KO'd by Greninja if I'm not specs. So there's a lot of like cheeky little things I want to like try, and the main thing is like having this surprisingly Protean Greninja lead off and click toxic spikes, and hopefully they lead Primarina and feel like they should flip turn or
Mm-hmm.
surf or moonblast.
Yep.
um Hopefully that'll catch them off guard. And if Muck's not on the field, that's kind of like, or Muck's not on like the 6 that they bring, that's kind of like the strategy going in so far.
Yeah. For sure. Well, some good strategies that you have cooked up there. Hopefully, some of them will come to fruition in game.
Yeah, we'll see with the Mandibuzz for sure.
Yeah. But well, after this marquee matchup, your schedule doesn't get any easier.
Nope.
Um, you are set to face another Raikou promotee from Season 7, Dobesito, who's been doing pretty good this season, followed by a tough final week clash with Pyro, who's currently making a strong push for promotion to Suicune. And with playoffs within reach, every battle will really matter from here on out. Looking ahead at these two final matches, how confident are you in securing that playoff spot And beyond that, do you have any personal or competitive goals you're aiming for this season?
So pushing like against those two guys, they're obviously great battlers. I was really worried about fighting Dovacito in Raikou season 7, and that match went a lot better than I could have imagined when I played them. I think it was a 5-0 then, so I really
Mm-hmm.
want to keep the pressure and keep that, winning record against them. Pyro and I have fought twice now because of redemption playoffs, and in the redemption playoffs I won that time. I wouldn't say it was the best match ever. I played really early. He was in Japan, so there was a lot just of like meh going around, especially because it's redemption playoffs.
Yep,
And I wasn't
for
really a
sure.
fan of that team I had until maybe like the finals of redemption playoffs, and then unfortunately against your team when I cooked ring target dark rat. I
Why you
just
have cooked
was
so hard against my team?
and Sap Super Azumarill saving the day. So
Yeah.
um I I really want to go in focused with this into these next 2 weeks after Neversaw, of course, and just keep the pressure, keep building to my strengths, and just having like things like Greninja and Deoxys, doing the cleaning up, or in some weeks, like off the top of my head, like Deoxys seems really good into um Dobacito's team. So just you know keeping my sets comfortable but unique, and
Mm-hmm.
nothing like too streamlined. And yeah, my goal for the season is to hopefully win another championship. I would love to win again. I was really close in a couple other leagues I'm in. I've lost in semis twice now, so in those other leagues that I've been in. So I'd really like to make it back to finals and have a shot at the chip again, since this team is a lot more my style. And
Yeah.
it would be really cool to win with Greninja and Meowscarada, respectively, in their own
Yep.
divisions. And those are two of my favorite starters because they're cool.
Because they're cool. And they share a pretty common ability.
Yeah, for sure. And they're fast. I like fast Pokemon.
Yep. Well, awesome. That wraps up our interview with Tito of the Salina Valley Raging Bulls. Thank you again for joining me today, and best of luck in your upcoming battles. And we'll see if you can change your way back into charge your way back into playoff contention. Any final words you'd like to share with the community or your fellow competitors?
Um, I guess try and make me lose one of these next 3 games, or else you're gonna have to fight me in playoffs. And not that I'm this crazy battler, but I am very good. And yeah, it's been a great season so far in Entei. And everyone can have the redemption story. I'm talking to you, Bops. So pick your head up, man. But yeah, other than that, thanks for having me. It's been really cool. Thanks for doing this season, Steve.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, of course. Have a good
All
one.
right. Yep. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Today I'm joined by Neversaw, coach of the vivacious VVs from the Entei Division. Neversaw burst onto the draft scene just last season, immediately making waves by going all the way to claim the Raikou Division Championship in their debut season. An incredible feat that many still talk about today. Not only that, but they also hold a world record in XRC Sim, showcasing their skill beyond just the Pokemon draft format. Some might even say they were snubbed for Rookie of the Season last year, though their results certainly spoke louder than any reward could. Welcome to the show, Neversaw.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Now that you're competing in the Entei Division, Neversaw has proven that their championship run was no mere fluke. Sitting comfortably at third place with a 3-1 record, the vivacious VVs are once again making a serious push for playoffs and perhaps another title. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly better than when I played the off-season mid-skill. Was certainly
Mm-hmm.
not as good as this, but I think it helped me prepare for moving up to the mid-skill division. And I think outside of last week, I think I've been playing pretty well. I've been pretty happy with my gameplay. The match versus Pyro was a brawl.
Yes, it
um,
was one hell of a match.
but but slip-ups happen. I think my last week was a little bit rough, but all you can do is keep bouncing back from stuff.
I do find that a lot of the promotees from the sister league, they kind of use that off season to like get accustomed to what Entei is, and now they're all doing fairly good. Because typically Raikou promotees don't go straight to like top 5. So
Yeah, I think I think when I played the off season, I had a couple close games where usually there were like slip ups. Funnily enough, one of my major slip ups was against Dobacito, where I had a very winning position with my Diancie. And I clicked substitute on the same turn their Metagross came in and clicked trick on me. um,
oh
and that did not work well for me at all.
yep.
And I narrowly ended up losing. And that was kind of the story of my run, was I had multiple games or a single 50-50 in the other direction, and I would have probably been the top couple players.
Yeah, I mean Pokemon's a fickle bitch.
Yeah,
You know?
that it absolutely is.
Well, let's take a look at your team now. With the 5th overall pick in the draft, you secured the ghostly powerhouse in Spectrier, and somehow managed to snag the perfect partner in Urshifu's single strike late into the second round, a combination that immediately turned heads. From there, you built that balanced fire-water grass core, very bulky core, supported by a set of terrifying wall-breaking Terra Captains, and rounded out the roster with their 2 beloved one-pointers, Eevee, the very Pokemon that earned its first ever championship last season, thanks to you, and Muck, another reliable carryover from their title-winning squad. You've drafted a very incredibly synergistic team once again, especially with that Spectrier and Urshifu core. Can you talk about your team building process, being a new player and all, and how you've managed to keep that momentum going from your championship season?
I'd have to say from the start that the success that I have with the team building and drafting and that kind of stuff, I cannot take sole credit for that at all, because I have a friend who has been around the BTDL community, and they actually played in the Flareon off-season division. His name's Elite Grove, and without him, genuinely, I would not even come close to winning the championship, let alone performing as I am now. We're pretty much the two parts of the duo, and he is kind of a lot more of the brains for helping me learn all the stuff with just like team building, because I'm very new to any kind of singles stuff. I've played a little bit of VGC in the past. Pokemon's been a part of my life for like 18 years, but I've never actually tried playing competitively singles, let alone a draft league. And his help is a lot of the reason why my drafts and my team building from week to week look a lot better than you might expect from a rookie.
Yep.
Because he is very good at bouncing ideas, just helping me get in the right direction to figure out what to do. And nowadays it's a lot easier for me to actually team build. We used to mock a lot early in my Raikou season,
Yep.
but we don't really do mocks anymore since I've gotten used to it. So, but on like the actual draft stuff, I think it's just kind of making sure that you cover your bases. And I think one of the things that I've actually done poorly in my last 2 seasons was building around a core Pokemon that I wanted to play with. Like in my first season, I just kind of took Palafin and then just drafted basically a hyper offense team by accident. But this time when I picked up Spectrier, I wanted to actually sit down and properly enable Spectrier. So Urshifu ended up being like the premier option to play off of Spectrier's weaknesses and strengths.
How did that happen?
How did that happen? I have no idea. I honestly was having to start playing contingencies for Urshifu not making a Mac, and then Urshifu made it back, and I'm like, okay, tossing all that out the window. But yeah, everything else, like the Prim, the Serena, the Rodon, those are all picks specifically to help round out my weaknesses, but also provide a lot of tools to help get those very,
Mhm.
very dangerous threats onto the field safely. And that was pretty much my draft plan, and it's a lot of the reason why I also went for the Rhyperior and the Braviary, things that just can take hits, pivot around, or just are absolute behemoths in the case of Rhyperior, and just
Yeah.
set up my first 2 picks, basically.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Now that we got a good sense of who you are and your team, let's take a look at your matchup. Uh, of course, you are the reigning Raikou champion, but this week you're facing an older Raikou champion that came right before you from season 7. That's Tito. It's a heavyweight clash between two proven winners. Tito's squad is known for its fast-paced offensive core, featuring 3 blisteringly quick attackers, a sand mode with Excadrill, and their current MVP candidate, Greninja, who's been an unstoppable force this season. You're going up against Tito, of course. The coach who is typically shown more like a bulky offensive playstyle in the past that I've seen. What's your strategy for handling that kind of offensive pressure, and how do you plan on asserting control in this match?
Um, I'm gonna be honest. There's so much offensive pressure in my team. The more I've been looking at this, the more I'm like, oh my goodness, his amount of offense is like too much for my poor team to handle.
I don't know.
And I think part of it is just kind of matchup, but also my team is very much like just kind of a bulky offense, and it just happens that my bulk can't match up to some of these things. And so I think the biggest thing for me is actually more, instead of trying to play a more bulky offense style like what you'll usually see out of my team, especially because it's really good at playing that style, taking hits, dishing it back, pivoting. Instead, it's kind of more of a like, I just have to hit him really hard. If you
Yeah.
have any Hearthstone players watching this, Migo Face
Okay.
is about accurate for this. Um, a special shout out to my good friend Grove for helping Tito with rebuilding his team right before our matchup. But you know, it be how it be. I
Yeah.
think this is gonna be tricky, and yeah. This is gonna be a tricky matchup. That's about the best way I can put it from everything that I've been trying to look at. But I hope my new addition to Delphox will do a lot. Is my hope here.
Yeah. I love Delphox as a Terra captain. But yeah, their transactions definitely changed a lot of their fundamental team. Like they went from like a hybrid snow bulky team to like a fast offensive pressure sand hybrid team.
Mhm.
So it's definitely interesting how they pivoted from there. But
Very scary team.
but yeah, after this marquee matchup, you will face against Allison next week, a wild card coach currently on the edge of playoff contention, followed by a season finale against Ice, another strong rookie of the season candidate who's been impressive in their debut season. With only 2 weeks left after this round, every match and differential point matters for playoff seeding. But for you, you're sitting in a great position right now, 3rd place, heading into this final stretch. How confident are you in securing the playoff spot, and do you have any personal or team goals as you aim for back-to-back championship success?
I think the oh, sorry, my brain. Sometimes my brain
Brain
just
fart?
like reboots. Beep boop, beep boop. No, I think that both these matchups, I haven't really looked too much into them, so I can't really comment on the individual. I pretty much always just take it as a like week by week basis to just keep
Yeah, for sure.
keep focused on each match. But I can say that I feel pretty confident in making it into playoffs. I think I had a really good start to the season, narrowly clinching out the win versus Pyro. I think did huge dividends for whether I would make it or not. And I feel like I have a very strong team this time around, where it has a lot of good options across the board,
Yep.
and I'm very happy with how the team feels. And I feel like if I don't make playoffs, it's more of an indictment of me not being a good enough player yet, which is completely fine. I'm still new to all this, you know. I can't be super harsh on myself. But I think I can absolutely make playoffs if I just keep up the gameplay I had in the first few weeks and don't dwell too much on my last week, where I just made like a series of misplays. Like it was pretty much things were unlucky, and I like made a series of misplays that made the game as hard as it possibly could be, and
Yeah.
those games can really mess you up. And when I played in Raikou, that actually happened to me week 6. I nearly completely boomed when I got basically swept by I think it was Jason Glade. I think I could be wrong. It might be Bastion actually. I think it might have been Bastion. One of the two. I'm sorry which one. I can't remember. Hold up. Before I speak anymore, let me just double check. It was Bastion. It was Bastion.
Okay. Bastion.
And that one actually really boomed me bad. But this time around, I was obviously sad and kind of upset. But at the same time, I learned to just handle it better and not be as frustrated, because that is how you spiral, and that is how you completely mess up. Like you know, at this point you could say with a 3-1 record, if I just keep going steady, I get into playoffs, and if you spiral from here, you can easily go 3-4 miss playoffs just
Yeah, for
like
sure.
that. So I feel pretty confident though. I think as long as I keep learning, that's the most important thing no matter what. It's completely okay to lose. I wasn't expecting to win in my first season, but it ended up as a result of some luck in my quarterfinals match, but then just learning from that and playing well in my semis and finals match. And really just keep learning and have fun. What's the point of doing this all if I'm not having fun?
Exactly. And every failure is a learning point.
Exactly. Failure is key. I know that from my experience with League.
Well, before we wrap up, I want to touch on something outside of Pokemon, because you've mentioned that you're a big League of Legends player, even making it to Grandmasters, which is no small feat. Obviously, both Pokemon and League demand high levels of strategy and adaptability. How would you compare the two competitive environments? In what ways do you think your League experience has helped you develop as a Pokemon player?
I think one of the big differences between League and Pokemon is pretty much how much time you have. Like, when it comes to Pokemon, you have a lot of time on your hands comparatively, especially in draft league formats where there's no timer. You have a lot of time to sit there, look at calculations, think out your next move in advance, kind of like
Yep.
playing chess, basically.
I
And
love the Pokemon chess comparison.
yes, I just thought of it. I was like, oh yeah, it is like chess. Um, but League is very much a game where every second matters. Like when you're playing the game, especially at a high level, if you stop thinking for just a second, you can straight up just lose the game because you miss something, which leads to like a chain of events where you lose complete control over the game and you just lose, just like that. It is absolutely brutal. And I think Pokemon can be more forgiving in that realm, but at the same time, a lot of Pokemon is pretty much like a knowledge check, like knowing before you even get into the battle, knowing what could be going on, understanding how to like scout for things to understand what they're trying to do and not fall into traps. Like there's so much that complexity in Pokemon that goes into just putting together the Pokemon. There's so much flexibility, and I think that's a lot of the key differences between the two is just one is very constant, every second matters, and the other one you can take some time to think, but you really have to like go through a lot of options, and one wrong move can spiral an entire game out of control.
Yeah.
Which is like how I won my first 2 weeks was basically just like a turn 1 or 2 play or something that just spiraled my opponent and they could not regain control in the game for the rest of the battle. Um, and I would say, as for how my experience in League helped me with Pokemon, I would say knowing. I would say I don't know if there's anything directly between League and Pokemon that helped me out per se, but it's more so learning how to become a good League player in a proper manner, not just getting there because like some players get to that level just off of like intuition or that kind of stuff. But for
Yep.
me, I was never really that kind of player, and actually my problem was that I overthink things, which has happened to me in Pokemon. Um, and the biggest thing that I could do is just very much learn how to learn is the best way to explain it. It sounds a little silly when you say it like that, but it's pretty much just learning the process of what you have to do to sit down and actually learn, to review your games. Like that's what I do all the time in League. You have to review, and you need to pretty much reverse engineer everything. You need to see that something went wrong. You have to understand why it went wrong and deconstruct exactly how you got to that point and how to avoid it in the future, how to do it better the next time. There's so much that goes into the process of learning, but getting good at League taught me what it means to get good at something pretty much. And I
Yeah.
think that is by far the most important thing I learned that has helped me going into this draft league
Mm-hmm.
is knowing how to learn, because then I can apply my lessons much more quickly than I ever would have even just a year or two ago. And as a result, I was able to go from the absolute travesty that was my Raikou week 1 match. If you want to see it, I will gladly link it. Feel free to ask me. Um, and going from that to, you know, winning the whole league, being
Mm-hmm.
in the upper echelons of mid skill, it's entirely because of just learning how to learn. That is quite literally pretty much it.
Learning how to learn.
It is by far the most important skill you can learn, and once you learn it, you can do pretty much anything you want as long as you put your mind to it.
Awesome. Some great lessons to be learned in that monologue from you.
A little bit of a yapper, if you couldn't tell.
No, that's all right. I appreciate the yap. But yeah, that wraps up my questions and our interview with Neversaw of the Vivacious VVs. It's been incredible watching your continued success since your debut season from Raikou, champion to Entei playoff contender. Thank you again for joining us today, and best of luck in your upcoming match against Tito. Do you have any final thoughts or words you'd like to share with the community or your fellow competitors before we sign off?
Oh, I actually got two. I was about to ask if I could add something. Well, the first thing I will note for this matchup, I don't know if it's been noted at all, but me and Tito did play in the Flareon League, and Tito, from talking with him, Tito's become a friend of mine after we started talking
Oh,
because of
nice.
my Raikou's championship, and talking about Dio speed was one of the funny things.
Yeah.
And now he's had Dio speed twice against me. But I ended up winning that set 5-0 versus him. I believe he said like he pretty much like rushed his prep and he didn't like properly get together
Mm-hmm.
a team, and me and Grove very much put together a little bit of a nasty team.
Yeah.
So it was unfortunately a pretty one-sided match, and I know that he really wants to properly like build a team and face off against me, and I feel the exact same. I want like a proper just no holds barred, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what we're
Awesome.
both cooking.
Yep.
So it'd be interesting to see who wins that. And the second part was just like a thank you to just the community as a whole. It's been very chill, very welcoming here. I was very nervous joining here for the first time because I knew nothing. I just
Mm-hmm.
happened to find it when I was searching for a draft league to play. Um, and just kind of went in, dove in head first, hoped for the best. I love like the the drafts with the gifts and everything are great. We did some memes this season. I think
Yep.
everyone really liked it. Um, and yeah, it's just been very, very enjoyable playing here. So thanks to all the community, admin, staff, just everyone.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you. Neversaw.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that's all. Take care. Good luck in your
Yep.
match.
Thank you. Thank you.